Well, confirmation on the support car's now arrived. So basically it's like you see, our car's ready to go, and I'll just take a quick walk down. And well, this is a support car that's with us while we're over in Europe right now. So we'll just get this last bit filmed. Hope you enjoy, and then we'll be heading back home. Speak to you soon. Episode 5 for Past Life Generations. Once again, as normal, we wait for information to tell us where we're going. Location must be not far away from here. I've heard it's about 30-35 minutes. Sat nav will tell us everything. As you saw in the last episode, we didn't even take a car. So sometimes anything can happen. But let's see what happens. Over to you then, Paul and Craig.
The message from Paul and Craig reads, "The destination that you've actually got to go to right now, which has been put in your sat-nav, dates back to pre-Roman Gaul era. We want you to dive off with the rest of your family, find out some information, we'll do some research here, but while you're there, enjoy yourself because the sights are fantastic. Speak to you when you get back." The origins, very few traces of human activity in Bruges date from the pre-Roman Gaul era. The first fortified were built after Julius Caesar's conquest and a monopoly in the 1st century BC. To protect the coastal area of pirates, the Franks took over the whole region from the Gallo-Romans around the 4th century and administered it as the Pagus Flandris. The Viking incursions of the 9th century prompted Baldwin I, Count of Flanders, to reinforce the Romans' fortifications. Trade soon resumed to England with Scandinavia. In the golden age of the 12th and 15th century, Bruges received its city charter on July 27, 1128, and new walls and canals were built since about 1050. Gradual silting had caused the city to lose its direct access to the sea, and a storm in 1911, however, re-established this access, though to the creation of Channel of the Zwin. The new sea arm stretched all the way to Dam, a city that became the commercial outpost for Bruges. Due to trade, Bruges has a strategic location at the crossroads of the Northern Hanseatic League trade and the Southern trade routes. Bruges was already included in the circuit of the Flemish and French cloth fairs at the beginning of the 13th century. But when the old system of fairs broke down, the interpreters of Bruges innovated. They developed or borrowed from Italy new forms of merchant capitalism, whereby several merchants would share the risks and profits and pool their knowledge of markets. They employed new forms of economic exchange, including bills of exchange, i.e. promissory notes and letters of credit. The city eagerly welcomed foreign traders, most notably the Portuguese pepper and spice traders. With the reawakening of the town life in the 12th century, a wool market and a woolens weaving industry, and the market for cloths, all profited from the shelter of city walls, where surpluses could be safely accumulated under the patronage of the Counts of Flanders. The city and entrepreneurs reached out to the make-economic colonies of England and Scottish wool-producing districts. English contracts brought by Norman grain and Gascon wines, and city ships filled with harbour, which had to be expanded beyond Dam and to the Sluice to accommodate the new cog ships. In 1277, the first merchant fleet appeared in ports of Bruges. First of the merchants colony that made Bruges the main link to the trade of the Mediterranean. This development opened not only the trade in spices but the Levant, but also advanced commercial and financial techniques and a flood of capital that soon took over the banking of Bruges. The Bourse opened in 1309, most likely to the first stock exchange in the world, and developed into the most sophisticated money market of the Lower Countries in the 14th century. By the time Venetian galleys first appeared in 1314, they were latecomers. Numerous foreign merchants were welcome in Bruges, such as the Castilian wool merchants, who first arrived in the 13th century. The foreign merchants expanded the city zones. They maintained separate communities governed by their own laws until the economic laws. Such wealth gave rise to social upheavals, which were the most part harshly contained by the military in 1302. However, after the Bruges Matins, the nocturnal massacre of the French garrison in Bruges by the members of the local Flemish militia, on 18th of May 1302, the population joined forces with the Count of Flanders against the French, culminating in the victory of the Battle of the Golden Spurs, fought by Cossacks on July 11th, the statue of Jan Bredel and Pierre de Konig, the leaders of the uprising, can still be seen on the big market square. The city maintained its military as a permanent paramilitary body. It gained flexibility and high prestige by the close ties to the Guild of Organised Military, comprising of professionals and specialised units. Military men bought and maintained their own weapons and armour, according to family statutes and wealth. At the end of the 14th century, Bruges became one of the four members, along with Franco-Bruges, Ghent, Ypres. Together they formed a parliament, however they frequently quarrelled amongst themselves. In the 15th century, Philip the Good, Duke of Burgundy, set up court in Bruges, as well as Brussels and Lille attracted a number of artists, bankers and other prominent personalities from all over Europe. Starting around 1500, the Zwin Channel, which had given the city its prosperity, also started silting. The city soon fell behind Antwerp as the economic flagship of the Low Countries. During the 17th century, the lace industry took off, and various efforts to bring back the glorious past were made. During the 1650s, the city was the base for Charles II of England and his courts in exile. The maritime infrastructure was modernised and new connections to the sea were built, but without much success. As Antwerp became increasingly dominant, Bruges became improvised and gradually faded into importance, its popularity dwindling from 200,000 to 50,000 by 1900. In the revival in the last half of the 19th century, Bruges became one of the world's first tourist destinations, attracting wealthy British and French tourists. By 1909 it had been in operation on associations called Bruges Forward Society to improve tourism. After 1965, the original medieval city experienced a renaissance restorations of residential and commercial superstructures. Historic monuments and churches generated a surge in tourism and economic activity in the ancient downtown area. International tourism had boomed, and the new efforts have resulted in Bruges being designated European Capital of Culture in 2002. It attracted some 2 million tourists annually. The port of Zeebrugge was built in 1907. The Germans used it for their U-boats in World War I. It was greatly expanded in the 1970s and early 1980s. Has become one of Europe's most important and modern ports.